mighty woman, classy, beautiful woman, mighty woman, classy, beautiful woman, mighty woman, classy, beautiful woman, mighty woman, classy, beautiful. Hey, what's going on, Facebook fam? It's your girl, Neo Soul recording artist Lahla-Hadiya, back again for another segment of Morning Tea with Mommy. I hope you guys are doing awesome. I see you guys are in here awaiting today. I'm so excited. So excited for our special guest today. But first, let me see how you guys are doing. Let me see those thumbs ups, those hearts, those happy faces. Let me know you guys are awake, first of all. I got my coffee. I'm still waking up. I want to know you guys are awake and happy to be alive. Another chance to get it right, to get it together, and get ready for this November. Hey, Vanita, what's going on, Queen? I'm going to go ahead and bring my co host on. Y'all know who she is. How are you, gorgeous?
Good morning. Good morning. It's a beautiful day in my neighborhood. And I'm certainly hoping that it's a beautiful day in yours as well. Well, if you're on with us this morning, it has to be a beautiful day because you're breathing, you're alive. That's a blessing in itself. And I am just so happy, glad, excited to have our host, not a host, our guest with us today.
Look, we all
We've
tongue
been
tied. We
talking a
just
lot
excited.
about politics and children and people and representations. And so I'm really excited about our guests today.
I am too. So we've been talking a lot about just being prepared for this coming election. We in no way, shape, or form are trying to sway you either way. The plan is just to educate you and create an atmosphere where you gain wisdom so that you can make sound decisions. When it's time to go to the polls, when it's time to fill out your mail-in ballot, I want to make sure that you all are able to make sound decision, because we are a voice. We do matter. Our voice does matter. Our votes do count. So please don't fall into that misnomer that it doesn't matter. They're going to do what they want to do anyway. As children of the Creator, we have a charge to be lights of the world, like I've been sharing with you guys. And lights aren't hidden under a bushel. You gotta shine. And in order to shine properly, you need to be juiced and charged up with the correct information, so that you can shine bright. And that is what our position and our stance is today. So, Lord Disha, I see you in the building. I got something for you. I kept promising my DC fans, and my DC viewers that we would have something for you all. We're not just going to keep it in Maryland. So this young lady that I want to bring on, she's a beautiful queen. I've been following her for a while. Um, she has a beautiful daughter that she does reading time with, and she went live with her, and I thought it was the cutest thing. It was just so amazing just to see the bond and the interaction with her and her daughter, and her taking education by the horns, and actually being what we all talk about is that first school, that first form of education, and sort of setting the bar for those who would move on to teach her as she matriculates into an actual school setting. So it's amazing to watch this young lady, and then to find out later on that she was in the runnings for the school board representative. And so to just see somebody that looks like us, see somebody that looks like us, somebody that has children, so you can definitely relate. When you're seated and you're talking about some of the issues that are going on, or that are arising in education, in regards to education in the district. So I'm excited to have her. I want to go ahead and bring her on so you guys can see her beautiful face. Because look, us, our
Where's
African American
where's your horn?
melanin
Where's your horn? Where's
queen.
your bell? Come on now.
Let me just tell
Get
you,
the
we
sound
are
effects on.
gorgeous.
On.
We are gorgeous, and so I can't wait for you to meet this beautiful queen because she is just beautiful inside and out. And so I'm going to give you guys an opportunity later to ask her some questions. And like I said, these are people that are not untouchable. You know, these are the persons that you want to rub shoulders with and say, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, this is what's going on in my community, and how can we, work to change this? These are the important people. Everybody's so hung up on the presidency, but these are the people who go out and fight and lobby and say, hey, this is what needs to happen in our community, and how do we move to create a better learning environment for our children, so that they can have the best setup for success. So I'm going to bring her on so that we can get to know her better. So without
The
further
middle is good.
ado, I want to introduce Miss LaJoy Johnson Law. Look, she even got Law at the end of her name, so you already know. You already know.
What's up, y'all? I love y'all. Come on, morning tea with
Oh my
mommy. You
goodness.
guys are amazing.
Her
I
voice
love
is
y'all.
just, she says she can't sing, but that
Look, she
voice,
has a
it,
storybook
yeah.
voice. I just want her to just read all of my children's stories.
Yes, 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 yes. We got
Aw,
to
you
talk
guys are
after
so
this.
sweet. Oh my
We're
God,
connected
Lala.
already. We're
Oh
connected
my God, you
already.
guys are awesome. Lala, mom. I call her Mama Craighead, y'all.
Everybody call her
Um,
Mama Lou.
Every, I'm
right?
everybody's mama.
I mean, it's all love. It's morning tea with mommy, and it's just a blessing to see, Lala, you and your mom. Oh, wait a minute, I got my tea, y'all. Hold on, wait. I missed it. Y'all did it at the same time. Y'all in
Yeah,
sync.
same
I done
time.
missed it.
Here
There
we
you
go.
go.
Here we
I
go.
even got the
Okay,
pinky.
1, 2, 3. Ooh.
There you
Cameraman,
go.
did you get that? Did you get that?
I
Did
love
you get
it.
that? Wow.
Come on, y'all.
Woo!
I want to see that. I
Inviting
want to see the
me. I'm
support. Throw those
honored.
hearts
Oh
up
my
for Miss
goodness.
LaJoy.
You know, I'm one for signs. God gives me signs, has always given me signs. And I'm like you, Lala. First of all, the last name, Law, Law. You can't tell me that's an act. That is
I
not an
look. Let
accident.
me tell
The
you.
other thing is, look at the first part of her name, La. We have a thing about laws
You
in
know
this
what I'm
family.
saying?
So we were
So,
meant to
girl,
be
you gotta be
connected.
on point now.
We're meant. It was destined to happen. And I'm just
It's
gonna tell y'all
destined.
now. We're now
Absolutely.
friends forever. So you're like
Yes,
me and
we're
Abria, you're like
connected.
stuck with us.
We
So
are
please prepare
family.
to put me in the family.
We
Yes.
are family already. Yes, yes,
Hey.
yes, yes. Okay. I know the audience is popping. They're jumping up and down. They're ready to get this thing started. I'm excited. I'm excited because you know what? You hit a nerve in my body when you, first of all, talk about law as it pertains to children, you
Mhm.
know, schools. That's me. That's me. You won me over already. So
And my,
yeah,
my
I'm
husband and
ready.
I have six. So yes, girl.
Blessings to you.
Prayers. Prayers is what I'm accepting. So,
Prayers to you.
She she
so
took she took God literally. He said to multiply, be fruitful and multiply. I only had two.
no,
She
no, no,
multiplied
no.
by
That was
three and
my
got six.
husband.
You hear what I'm saying?
That was my husband who
And
took him
it's just
literally.
a Bria. I just have one, and so Lala,
Hey,
I'm just
that's
gonna
just
take this time and bow down to
there
you.
you go.
Bow down.
Just send them
Enjoy it
prayers. That's
while it
all I
lasts.
request. So I want to get into this because, like I said, when I first started following you, so we have six children, and our next to the youngest is 9 years old, and she was diagnosed with autism when she was 2. And so I'm one of those hands-on parents. My husband and I are hands-on with the education of our children. And so when we got this diagnosis in regards to our next to the youngest daughter, we were just all in. And but with my mom being an educator at that time, she had not retired yet. So we were like, hey, what we gonna do? because she will definitely be a good product of society. We will not allow her to be drowned out and or
Yeah.
just pushed under the carpet or swept under the carpet just for the sake of. She won't be graduating with a certificate. She will get her diploma, and so
Amen. Let's talk about the diplomas.
right.
Yes.
So we were really adamant about being advocates for her education and her well-being. And so when I first saw you online, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, that's me all day. And so I was so fascinated. I kept coming back every time to see story time. And then it was, I think you had already announced that you were going to run, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And so I literally became intrigued, and my mom and I had this show, and I was like, there's some people that I had already lined up in my brain, and I was like, God, you got to allow me to make it to this point, because at this point I need this person to come on. So I need you. I need to still be here. So I know you got some work for me to do. So let me just line them up for me. Line them up for me so I can do your work. And so I'm excited to have you on here because regardless
Excited to be
of
here.
regardless of what state you're in, whether you're in Maryland, DC, or Virginia, if you are a parent, or you feel like your voice has to be heard, or your voice has to resound, because you are advocates for your children. Because there are a lot of things that can fall by the wayside if you don't stand up for your child, and especially younger children who don't really have a voice, because they're just kind of like going with the flow, like, hey, my mama said I gotta go to school. And you get them home and you're like, how was your day? And they was like, it was fine. What did you do? And so you kind of gotta be involved and be in the mix. And during this election, there will be several questions on each ballot, whether you're in Maryland, DC, or Virginia, in
That's right.
regards to education. And I want to shift people's focus from, who's going to be the next president, to the people who actually really matter in the things that the president is taking his pen and signing away. And that's people like you. People who are
Right.
like, hey, this is what's happening in the school system. I know because I have a child. I'm not just guessing. We talked yesterday about a movie that my mother saw called Beyond the Blackboard. And I watched it
Ooh.
yesterday, and it was in regards to a teacher, or a young lady who always wanted to be a teacher. She became a teacher, and she didn't know that they were placing her in a homeless shelter. And so she's like, oh my God, like, how in the world am I going to do this? And then, she was like, this is what I always wanted to do. And so they didn't provide anything for the students. And she started providing it on her own. And then she was like, hey, look, I'm a teacher. I need materials. These children need books. They need desks to be able to feel like they're in a school setting, so that I can be my best self, so I can teach them to be their best selves. and
Amen.
and she had children. One of the questions she kept asking those who were in charge was, have you been there? Have you been to the school? Have you been to the classroom? And they were like, well, no. And so this is where
That
people like
part.
you come in, where it's like, I know what it feels like, I know what it looks like, because I have a child, and I've walked through the school system on the other side as a parent, where I'm seeing the things that most people who are sitting at the desk don't really pay attention to, because you've gotten to this place, in this position, where it's like, I'm just, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do. And it's not based on experience, it's based on position. And so
Hmm.
that's why I wanted to bring you on. One of my first
Good.
questions is, why you? Like, why like, why? And I know that it's answering the call to, the purpose that is connected to you. But what was it that made you say, I got you, I'll go?
I go.
We got it. We did have that moment, but oh my! But just first of all, hey everybody, I'm LaJoy. I've been a Ward 8 resident for nearly 9 years. Lala, Mama Craighead. Thank y'all. First of all, I'm just honored to be here. Thank you just so much for inviting me. And hey, everybody on Facebook, I love you guys. And I think honestly, everything first started honestly when Abria was born. And so, for those of you, many of you know, I think Lala, I think you may know, but for those of you who don't, um, all first of all of our children are miracle babies, right? But Abria was born at 23 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
So half the time, 1 pound, 6 ounces.
Oh my.
So I call her my miracle baby, right? So it was like, oh dear God, like, I didn't know what was going to happen, back then. But when I looked into her eyes, I said, "Oh, she's a fighter. She's gonna make it. Like, she's gonna be here. She may have been born at 23 weeks, but God had her to come at the exact right time in the exact right moment. So actually, I say my daughter was right on time. But in that, being born so early, there are health challenges. So my daughter is diagnosed with chronic lung disease and epilepsy. And everything just first started when she was in early intervention. She was at the NICU at Washington Hospital Center, and they said, Miss Law, she's doing great. She can go home, but because she was born so early and because of development, you're going to need to get her into early intervention. And at that, I'm a new mom. I'm like, what's that?
Right,
like,
right.
like what's happening? I have no idea, what this means. So basically, when she was born, I basically kind of had to like crash course in special education, special education policy, educational policy, the way the system works. And literally, I tell everyone I had to crash course in just education laws. Like, you just literally, I think as a parent, we're all just like, okay, wait, like a
Right.
crash course in policy. So I got her over at National Children's Center, had an amazing experience there. But one thing that happened that really, I mean, I stayed on them, but that just really started the advocacy. And I started to see just a shift, not only for me helping Abria, but just helping other families. She actually wasn't receiving her OT and her speech at one point in time. The teacher pulled me to the side and said, "Hey, Miss Law, you need to contact Aussie." So I was like, "Aussie?" She was like, "That's the Office of the State Superintendent for Education here in DC." And that's when she kind of explained it to me. You're in early intervention. This is special education. She has an individualized family service plan. We call that an IFSP. And she was explaining that I have rights. Abria has rights. And so, and then she said, "Don't tell anybody that I told you that." And I said, "Wait, what?" She said, "Please don't tell anybody that I told you. I don't want to get in trouble." And immediately I thought, why would someone retaliate against you
Right.
because you're helping the child, because you're helping the family? Well, come to find out, it happens every day. It happens all the time. It happens
Absolutely.
every day. So that was just my first dose, I think, of advocacy for Bria and then navigating the system. So, and then I thought, well, wait a minute. What about the other families? I'm like, if this is happening to me, what about the other families here, at NCC? And so I think I just started connecting with other parents and just connecting with the teachers and seeing what was going on. And honestly, I was just inspired by Abria. So I said, you know what, I gotta get back in school. So again, I'm a new mom. I was married at the time. I said, okay, let me get back in school. So I went to go get my associates in elementary education.
Wow.
So, yep,
So that's
I
fun.
would say I'm gonna get to the why. Hold on, y'all. I got to tell y'all the journey. Like it's been a journey. And so, okay, so we fast forward to her being 3. I have finished my associates in elementary education. I thought I wanted to be a teacher, and I said, okay, nope. I'm like, I don't. I was like, no. I'm like, Lord. I was like, is this what you want me to do? I'm like, I'm not sure. Let me navigate. Let me figure this out. So I went back to school to get my bachelor's in psychology. In the middle of that, when I was trying to find a DC public school or a DC public charter school, she was 3 years old. Again, I'm still a new mom. This is my first time navigating the system. The school had given me a list. I said, "Oh, okay, these are some great schools that they're recommending." "Oh, okay, great." So I'm looking at the list and I said, why is the school across the street not on here? That's really, really odd. That's really odd. So I mean, you guys, random day. I just went up to the school. I just learned that, okay, she's 3 years old. So we're transitioning from early intervention to public schooling because that's actually what the law says. We're transitioning from Part C to Part B under IDEA, which is the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. And so, I had just gotten her IEP. I see Mama Craighead shaking her head.
Yeah.
I got this brand new IEP. Because she know I got this brand new IEP. I'm trying to navigate, trying to figure it out. I'm telling the school about her. It was literally no more than a 30-minute conversation. They just flipped through her IEP. I was telling them about Abria, and they told me, we are not able to serve your child here. Excuse me? I see Mama Craighead. Miss Law, we do not have the resources to serve your daughter. And I said, I don't understand. And see, at that time, I didn't know what I know now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, she's 3 years old. So this is 6 years ago. I'm like, well, what do you mean? We don't have the resources here. I want you to look at these schools. They do a really great job with special education. And the funny thing was, some of the schools that they mentioned were on the list that NCC gave me. So yes, this was a blessing, but I was outraged because I'm like, one, this is out of compliance. Two, you're legally, and all the parents and families watching, schools cannot tell you that, especially if these are schools that are receiving public dollars.
Wow.
So charter schools, I'm just putting it out there, they do receive DC tax dollars. They receive, y'all know how I am about information sharing.
Yes.
They receive public money. Okay, so charter schools are private. In DC, they're not private schools. They're public. They're publicly funded schools. They just have a different structure. We'll get into that part later. And so, just navigating it all. And then I think that's when the advocacy really took off. I mean, it just took off. I got involved at an organization called Parents Amplifying Voices in Education. I enrolled her at Apple Tree. And again, we still just navigating the system, helping other families. We started a support group at the school for families, getting involved in the community. And at that time, I was still going through a lot of things personally. And so it was just a lot going on. I'm trying to finish this bachelor's, and I'm going to fast forward a couple years throughout everything happening. At the time when I first started my advocacy journey for real, like when she was like 3 in the public education system, not on the early intervention side, my dad had died. Yeah. So my dad died. 2 months later, my aunt died of pancreatic cancer. 2.5 months later, my grandmother died of lung cancer. And again, another 2 months later, my cousin died in a really bad car accident. I had lost my job. Abria's back and forth in the hospital. I'm going through a divorce. I'm trying to finish this bachelor's. And then on top of it all, I got rid of eviction. And I felt like, Lord, why is this happening to me? I'm just trying to do the best I can. So I'm now a single mom, trying to figure it out. But then I realized this is a part of the testimony.
Yeah.
This is I needed to go through this to be able to share this with somebody else who's going through it, right? And again, it was just a part of the journey. So guess what, y'all? I finished that bachelor's.
I know that's
I went
right.
on to get a master's.
Of course you did. Of course.
I went on to get a master's, and because I'm looking at these policies, I'm looking at these laws, and I said, this has got to change. Why can't I find assistance for my daughter? Why are families just not able to really navigate the system and find the resources and the help they need? And so that's when I went back to school and I got my master's in public administration. I finished it last September. Yes, come on, Mom, take it. Yes. I'm excited. And so the plan was, okay, LaJoy, you're just going to keep going. We're going to get that PhD or, the doctor in public policy, and we're going to do some research. We're going to make policies. I had it all planned out. Apparently God had different plans.
Amen. That's what he do.
We get to October 2019 of last year. I was talking to my mom about just DC education. I had this at this time. I was a year Yep, like a year on my job. I work at Advocates for Justice and Education as the parent support specialist. So shout out to AJE. We're the Parent Training Information Center. Every state has one. So if you need to find your Parent Training Information Center,
Ladisha.
Parent Center Hub, just saying. Lala, you're in Maryland, so yours is Parents Place of Maryland. Look at Mama.
I can't write fast enough. I'm sitting here typing and I have to put it in my notes on the computer.
Parents, yep, it's Parents Place of Maryland. So that is the Maryland Parent Training Information Center. Every state has one. So I'm coming up on my year anniversary. I'm talking to my mom. I just finished my master's. I'm trying to figure out, taking my 6-month break before I go back to school. And I was just like fussing about something that was going on at school. And she said, LaJoy, have you ever thought about running for office? No, that's not for me. We fast forward to November 2019, and the current representative actually is running for city council. So I'm talking to a friend, and I'm like, oh my God, like who's gonna run for that seat? Like this is exciting. I'm no, I was like nosy too. I'm like, this is gonna be good. And so my friend says, you should do this. And I'm like, I don't do politics. I'm a mom. They're not ready for Miss Mom because I'm coming with that thunder. They're not ready for me. I'm just gonna sit down. And so my friend called some mutual friends of mine, well, ours actually, and they all ganged up on me and they all thought I was running. And I'm like, wait, you guys, I'm not running. And so they just kept bugging me about it. And I was like, okay, let me really think about it. I went to an event and it was a beautiful event. We were talking about education, but there was something that I noticed that was missing. Where are the families? Where are the families of color?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're talking about policy and there's an important perspective missing. It's not just about the degree and technical aspect of education. It's also about the lived experience and making sure that we view parents as subject matter experts. Why are they not here, right? And so I was like, okay, Lord, let me really think about it. So I talked to some folks in the community, kept getting the green light. Let me really pray on this. I promise you guys, I was like, Lord, make it plain. God, speak to me. He did. It was a random day. LaJoy, I want you to do this. I said, okay, Lord, I got you. No, I don't want to do this. So I just was like, I don't want to do this. Like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? And I remember I was looking at the composition of the board, and I said, wow, there are no Black parents. There are no families of color with school-aged children. I got the message, Lord. We have to rectify that. I got the message. I announced in February. 30 days later, COVID-19 hit.
Yes. I remember. I remember.
Whew, yes, yes, yes,
As
yes,
soon as
yes,
I saw it,
yes.
I was like,
Girl,
oh
girl,
my God.
I had to tell the story. I was like, no, I was like, this is a chance for me to tell my story. I'm gonna tell it.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. You're on it. Wow. In order to write the story, know the story, you got to live the story. That's
Amen.
my thing. You have to
Absolutely.
live the story. You have to know the story in order to tell the story. And of course, without the story, there's no journey. Without the journey, there's no story. And you certainly have shared. And every question, pretty much every question that I, had jotted down, all ready to, ask. This is not an interview. Our show is not an interview.
Candid
It's a
conversation.
conversation. It's a
Amen.
conversation.
And
And I got my
look,
vodka
it's
tissues up
overwhelming
here.
just taking
No,
in
No,
everything that you
Lala,
said.
you can't make me
you
cry. You
have
make me
hit
cry.
every nerve in my educational body.
Absolutely.
I was born to teach, to educate. And I know that. I also know that without a test, there's no testimony. And everything that you share throughout the threads, throughout your story, is certainly, and I'm sure our audience will share this, that your story and the test that you went through, it's no accident what God had for you to do. everybody around me, who knew me, knew the teacher in me, the educator. I taught my dollies before I even thought about, actually going into the profession. I had all my dolls, and you guys, I know you're bored with this story, but I'm telling it anyway.
I want to
All
hear it.
my little dollies
I just
had
think you're a
had
little
textbooks, they had learning tools, they had everything that my school children had when I eventually started teaching.
Yes.
And my story, I'm hearing your story. Wow. Wow. You have quite a story. And those are the things in life that push us out of our comfort zone. When
Hmm.
you have that special reason uh, to do something, your daughter being one, and the other situations that you've gone through, eviction and all of that. There's no shame to my game. When my story and our audience, tell you a little secret. They're all waiting for this book to come out, Mama Lou's book.
Come
It's
on, Mama
coming.
Lou.
look. We done
I'm gonna
sent her
tell you. I'm gonna
paper.
tell you.
We done sent her
There
paper
is
pens.
there is there is so much in that story. I'm gonna tell you. It's about 12 volumes now. And just hearing what you're saying, you know, what you have shared in just this little bit of time is what, when I started teaching and I really got into the ins and out of education,
Hmm.
I'm telling you, it's what prompted me. It's what inspired me. It's what kept me going for almost 40 years in the system.
Wow.
To
Honor.
know that there were children, there were families suffering who
Yes.
wanted an education. It far extends, the struggle that we've gone through as people of color. You know what I'm saying? When
Yes.
I saw, the kids coming to school um, after not getting a good night's sleep because of whatever the surroundings and that they were in, not having a good breakfast, and then the ones who had special needs. And my theory is all of us have special needs. The
We
thing
all
is,
learn
they're not
differently. Absolutely.
exactly. That was the thing that I learned, and everybody should have an IEP.
Mhm. Yeah,
Everybody,
you're right.
everybody
You're right. You're
you know
right.
and so, but when you see those kids where it actually stands out, whether it's through birth or illness or what have you, it's something that needs to be dealt with. It should be dealt with. You know what, getting off subject a little bit, I got my ballots this weekend. I
Yeah.
filled it out last evening. It was like a ceremony. Look, your brother, like my last brother, works from home. He's my housemate, right?
Yes.
And he's single and
Lord,
handsome.
what kind of show is this turning into?
No, I'm not trying to pawn him off, but I have two my bookends, La and her brother. I call them my bookends. They are really ideal children. I hold them close
Oh,
to my heart. And they are truly my bookends because they hold me together. Okay. But last evening I was filling out my ballot, and I was saying to him, we've got to all mail these things together. He said, Ma, okay, I got that part. But do we have to have a
that's what
ceremony?
I asked her. I was like, we all got to sit around and, I mean, are we really
And
trying to recreate the
I was
experience?
getting
Like,
so pumped up and excited and just
It's
filling in the ballot.
exciting.
Know we had to fill them out and do a
yeah, it
ceremony.
was a bit
That is
much.
so I love it. I would say
But
I
you
feel
know
I did a
what?
demonstration on mine on Monday
I'm
on my show. It was so
Look,
funny. I was like,
look.
oh, you guys.
I'm feeling you. I'm feeling you. And I was and I was saying, LaJoy, I was saying to him, no, but this is special. This is exciting. I'm actually, as I'm filling in the little circle, I said, oh my gosh, I went outside the circle a little bit. He said, Mom, come on now. Okay.
it's sometimes.
But the thing is, on that ballot, getting getting eventually, long story longer, getting to looking at the ballot, every other question, they're like the questions that you after you do the important part with the president and so forth.
Hmm. Hmm.
All of these questions alluded to finances, money that's going into the system. And when I got to that part, and this is where he was now, keep in mind he's working from home, so he's in between a call or whatever he was doing. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I was reading the numbers, and first I read thousands. I said, no, this is millions of dollars that's going into that they're asking for. I'm like, I worked for almost 40 years and I never see all of the, where did this money go? You know what I'm saying?
That
So
part.
it
Where's
becomes
this money
really,
going?
really, really, really real to me
Yeah.
when I think about now having a granddaughter who is has been labeled autistic,
Yes.
and not only her but all of the children that I've taught. I'm thinking about, where was that money? Where is the money? There has to be some money going towards making her the graduate, as La pointed out, with a
Mama
diploma.
Lou,
Saying,
Mama Lou, no, like you bring up a good point about the money because I'm think when you see again, come on, y'all, we're striking educational nerves today.
okay, I told you.
Not not this budget cycle, but the last budget cycle. Ward 8 is primarily African
Yeah.
American, um, and the schools were cut $10.5 million. You have a 15.5 billion, like with a capital B,
Yes.
Absolute
not
Yes.
million, capital B,
B.
okay?
I got you. Right.
$1 billion.
Mhm.
It was like $15.5 billion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the schools are cut. So you mean to tell me out of $15.5 billion, we have money to repave K Street up in Northwest, but we don't have money to put in Southeast? Come on, hold on, wait a minute. Come on, somebody, we're gonna do it with an F today this morning. Somebody write in the comments.
Hey.
South. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Southeast with an F. Okay, let's go there today.
Mhm.
So we don't have money for the schools in Southeast for our black and brown babies, for our black and brown families and our black and brown teachers. But we have money
Money
for
to
case.
pave a street that really
And
doesn't
you
get
you know
paved.
what's you
When
know
I
what's
drive up
crazy?
and down South Capitol Street and going into church, and I'm bumping and I get a flat tire, or stuff stuck in my tires from all the construction, and
Not
yet
even.
the streets are still bumpity bump bump,
You know.
and you can't find money for my
You
babies.
know what's crazy?
That's where I have a problem,
the
and
crazy
that's
That's
where
thing
the problem.
the crazy thing is this, like, so, like, I'm listening to the dynamics of the three women that are on here, which is so amazing, and it's so God led that this is happening, because my mom is an educator. You were telling me how you went and got your associates in elementary education, like, so that's my degree is in elementary education. Then I left and became a police officer in DC, and so
Uh-oh.
I used to wonder, and I was so
Hold on,
depressed.
hold on,
Um,
Lala. Prayers up for you. I
look,
know it's I know it's a no, for real. I know it's a lie. I know everyone has different opinions about that. But let's pray for our brothers and
yes,
sisters
always,
who
absolutely,
are on the
always,
front line for real.
absolutely.
always.
And I used to wonder, like, oh, why did I even, I'm sitting here busting my butt through school, like I'm the daughter of a pastor and a teacher, so I gotta ace everything. Went through school, straight A student, and then I'm like, I'm not even in my field, like I'm not even in the school system, like what is happening? But following the path that God has laid out for me, I'm
Hmm.
looking at it, and He's like, "Yo, I need you to go through I need you to see some things. I need you to
Exactly.
see some things. I need you to experience some things, because where I'm taking you, because all of this is my plan. It has nothing to do with you. Along the way, because of your obedience, I'm gonna give you some nuggets of grace and mercy. And I'm gonna give you some of the desires of your heart, right? Because of your
Amen.
obedience. But this is my plan. And so I need you to see some things, because there's somebody that's going to encounter you. And in order for you to be the proper light for them and their journey, you had to
Amen.
have gone through this or seen this. And as an officer, it was so crazy. I was a street officer, to see the babies. Like, I'm thinking now of, like, my 2 year old, and to
Right.
see these little 4 and 5 year olds walking the block to get to school. And, like, so I live in Maryland now, so I'm like, like, they got buses. These little babies are walking to school, walking past life on the way
Yes.
to school. And then
Yes.
you get them into a classroom where a lot of them haven't even eaten breakfast, and you're expecting them to be in the right position mentally, emotionally, and physically to learn, right? And I'm sitting here thinking like, because even then, I was on the, like, I got a big mouth and I like talking and I like fighting. So I'm like on the committee for bridging the gap between policing and the community. So
That's
I'm
right.
listening to the voices and the cries of the people, and I'm like going back to the police department, like, hey, this is the problem. This is what's happening. This is why they feel threatened. This is why they feel this way. And so I'm privy to some of the inside
Right.
information, like you say, they don't keep this on the hush, but, and I'm like, for
Exactly.
why? Like, why? If our focus is our future, understanding that our future starts with our babies, because now they become our right now. We're disgruntled because they running through these streets acting a total fool. But look what we've placed in front of them, and
Right.
look what opportunities we've not fought for on their behalf. And so
Right.
now we're like looking like, yo, they don't have no respect for the parents, they don't have no respect for the police officer. And I'm like, what have we done? What have we done? And a lot of us have rubbed
Certainly have.
shoulders with people necessary for the fight. Like, I've been talking this thing since we started this show. The movement. My mother says the movement, move me in it. The movement. When you pass a certain space, there should be a change in where you were before. And so a lot of us have rubbed shoulders with the necessary persons for the fight. And we do nothing. We do nothing. And so with this whole election, my charge for people who are come on this show, and just people I meet is, let's not just, we out here marching, and Black Lives Matter, and they certainly do. And
They do.
we have our voice and all this. Let your voices be intelligently heard. Don't just go out there marching to the polls and say, yo, we have a right to vote. And then you just, feeling it. This ain't one of them tests back in the day where they say just choose C. Like, it's time for you to literally get down and dirty, and uncover some of the things that are happening. Keep your ear to the vine. Like you were saying, like, yo, it doesn't make sense. You got all this money, and our
Right.
and our and our and our students are still hurting. Like, why don't they have the necessary
It's in, it's
materials
intent,
to be
And
successful?
it's
I'm
intentional.
a part of that era where I remember when they PG County first started the breakfast program and feeding the kids. I for years prior to that had one particular student that really resonates with me, Leonard. And La's familiar. She was familiar with a lot of my kids because back then, I would bring kids home. I, you know, and
Oh,
and this
that's
one little
Mama Boo.
kid, his mother, ironically, ran a daycare, or she kept kids. And I would wonder why he would come to school tired and, eyes all puffy, hadn't had breakfast, and I intentionally kept a drawer full of snacks and breakfast little items. And I had a mirror and comb and brush kept in my closet just for Leonard and any of the other students who, came to school unkept or what have you. But I found out because he was doing a lot of what the mom was supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of consistent with what I've seen over the years. A lot of, and for various reasons. It's not always due to neglect, intentional neglect, as it is parents trying to juggle either being a single parent, having to work,
Exactly.
having to, and do different things. But Leonard knew when he, trotted into class late and hair was all, and I just do one of those numbers, he'd go to my little closet, do his little cleanup, brush up, whatever. But when you look at the budgets, getting on topic with the voting situation and elections and so forth, you know, I used to get really, really uptight when, election time, and we've talked about this, how all of your running people who are running for offices, they show up at the church, on street corners, or wherever. But in between that time, you don't see it. Where are you? Where are you? And when I see my babies coming to school, without breakfast. And now, of course, they're serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and probably snack and all that. But the other thing, now we can't stop right there. There's so much more. There's so much more than
Amen.
meets the eye. Our kids need a lot more. Our kids who are special needs students,
Yes.
what about as my granddaughter, nonverbal? Until she's able to speak, and I've already claimed that I know God's going to have her speak one day, and the first thing is
Amen.
going to be Jesus, it's going to be Lord's name, because I just believe that it's no accident. God doesn't make accidents. He knows exactly what he's doing, and
Amen.
and so me in the meanwhile, we are here to advocate for our children. One of the things I had in my pocket all the time was my parents. I always pulled them in, good, bad, and different. I made certain that my parents knew that they were the child's first advocate. Okay.
Oh
And
my gosh, mommy too.
behind
Yes.
that, yes, and
Yes.
behind that advocacy comes responsibility. Now what? Okay. Now that you know you're an advocate, what are some of the things? And I will pull them aside. I had all kinds of little things going on in my classroom, revolving door. So anytime you knew you could come in, you could sit in. I had no deep dark secrets. This is what we need to realize with elected officials. I've said this over and over. They work for us. I'm your
Never.
employee. You're working for me. And because you're working for me, you need to know what my needs are.
Yeah.
And this is something that's so important. And hearing your story, I get so excited all over again, because I'm thinking about that classroom of 28 kids I had, 20 of whom were special needs young men, Black young men. And one day I just asked them, why are you here? And my mama sent me because I have to go to school. No, no, no. Okay, so tomorrow I need you to tell me why you're really here. I want you to think about it. Why are you here in
Mhm.
school? You know.
Mhm.
And so they started to come up with some answers like, I want to be somebody. I want to be a football player, whatever. I need an education to do that. And so their reasoning started to grow, and to the point where when I moved on to another job, I got a promotion, and they were crying. They were like, "This is the part that got me. Who's going to ask us why we're here?"
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? They had really taken that to heart. Our kids, our kids need to know why they are here. It's no accident.
Yes, Mama Lou. Mama
Whether
Lou,
they
they
can
don't make them like you no more.
They
Like
don't.
I'm
look,
not trying to. I didn't mean to
they
cut you off,
they
but
don't.
no,
you
no,
were
it's
so
okay.
inspiring,
This
and
this is
families
real.
don't feel that anymore. Like, and I
They
tell them,
don't.
like you said, I tell families all the time, you are your child's first advocate, you are your
Absolutely.
child's first educator, first
Absolutely.
teacher, first role
First
model.
lawyer,
Oh my God,
That's
the lawyer, the advocate. When I
that's
tell y'all,
right.
fast
bodyguard.
forwarding into law in
Absolutely.
regards to special education, that's why it's so hard being a parent. You're playing 500 roles
Mhm.
in one
All these
person,
roles in one person.
and law. I'm looking at you, and it's like you have 6 children, so you're playing 500 different roles.
All kinds of
You and
hats
your
on.
husband for 6 different souls.
Right.
Mm,
Like, I don't think people
absolutely.
understand. Like, this is a big deal. Elected office, this election, being a public servant. Someone write it in the comments. It's a big deal.
Yes.
These
A
are
big,
souls.
it
We're
is
dealing
a
with
big deal.
souls. It's
You
not
are
funny.
everything out all in rolled into one. It's like a big snowball, as you go along, you're picking up more and more and more and making it bigger. Your responsibilities to whom much is given, much is required.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So therefore, as parents, as the first advocate for our children, we need to search out whatever vehicles will allow those children to grow. And voting, yeah, we say, even us church folk, I've been in church all my life, but I tell you, I never really, really got it, and I came from godly parents. But it wasn't until I was out in the world, homeless, a single parent, um, and struggling with my kids, trying to make it. And I remember falling up on the counter at Bowie State, whoop, whoop, Bowie State University, while teaching a full time, teaching all day, going to Bowie State and then leaving there and going to a midnight job,
Mhm.
and coming home, and thank God for responsible children.
Yes.
Thank God
Yeah,
for responsible children. I never could have made it. I never
You
could have
talking about a
made it.
latchkey
that's
I
kid.
big.
never could have made it without responsible children. I'm telling you. But so when I hear your story, oh girl, you're opening up, some wounds, but it's okay because I got the Neosporin ready to put in those
And
wounds
Nils Bourne.
Yes.
because
Lord Jesus.
it's that story, that journey that you've been on that has allowed you to take up that baton and say, hey, look, I'm not going to just stop at being an advocate. I'm going to make something, I'm going to really move this thing. And rubbing shoulders with the people with the team, school board, and I'm claiming that, who
Oh,
Amen.
it's
can make
already
a
look.
difference. Like I say, and I will keep
Yes,
saying, those elected officials, we implore them. I'm paying your salary.
that's
I'm
right.
paying your salary. When I
Elected by the
looked at my
people.
ballot, when I
Amen.
looked at that ballot last evening and all the monies that is going towards it, and then I can see one where it was one asking for monies for the schools and so forth and so on. And I'm like you, okay, the crack in the sidewalk, the crack in the street, that can hold up for a little bit. Because I'm used to living in the metropolitan area. I'm used to riding over bumps and lumps and all that stuff. I need the bumps and lumps in the schools to be fixed. And
Mm,
I'm not talking just about the building. I'm talking about the education of my kids.
mhm.
Starting with my kids. When we're, like living out of a car, and really living. But you know what? They never went hungry. And I said this to my son the other day. I said, "How is it?" And I was fixing salmon cakes, the can, using the can one day, and I was like, "Why does it seem that I got more cakes out of that one can than I do now? What's that?
Look, I
Why?"
just cooked a stew
Man,
last
It's
night. I cooked
nothing
a
but
stew,
God.
and they were
the
like, "Mommy,
power,
this is so
power of
good." I
prayer.
said, "This is all the
Right? You
leftovers."
know?
I'm telling you, look, you hit a nerve. I'm telling
Making
you,
a
because
dollar out of
I
15 cents.
sorry, look, sorry, but not sorry, because you hit a nerve when you start to talk about education, when you start to talk about children,
Yeah.
when you start to talk about, the struggles, knowing what I went through, and just what you're saying. When I'm working a full-time job, a part-time job, and going to grad school and getting a master's and all of those things, I'm gonna tell you,
Yes.
I
Come on,
promise you, it
masters.
can happen. It can happen. I was going towards the doctorate, and then extenuating circumstances, like a 90-some-year-old mom, I made the choice and would do it again, whether to finish a doctoral program or to go back and forth 100 miles every weekend to take care of my mom. Hey,
Right.
the choice was made, and I would do it again. The thing
Amen.
is, you can do it. You can make it happen, but you
Yes.
have to be steadfast and movable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that your labor will not be
Be
in
in
vain.
vain.
I'm gonna take a seat now.
And so I have one because we have look. This has literally been candid conversation, and
I
so
love it.
with
Yes.
with
Mama said
like
it's wisdom.
with like four
Oh,
minutes,
Wisdom.
we have 4 minutes left, and this
oh
is the
God.
only look. Look, we've been just talking like I don't forgot the audience was here, but like 4 minutes left. I gotta get a question in, or they be like, "Yo, hello, we're hello." So I got
Hello.
I got one question for you. One question. First, let me say you got a fan on here. I didn't know. Look, small world. Shout out to you. They wanted me to make sure I told you hello. Be still beautiful. You were one of her clients. Nicole Steele. Um, but I do have a question for you because we've been talking about this whole election thing, and we're getting mixed, not mixed signals, but the voice of our people, our culture is in during a march where we're like Black Lives Matter, out of the side of the neck we're like our voice don't matter, and
Mhm.
so we're in this election season,
Mhm.
and there are people who still have that mentality. And so my take on it is, I certainly know whose I am. I know I'm a child of the King, and I know that He has the ultimate say. I also know that nothing happens without Him allowing it to happen. And I also know that we are to be in the world and not of the world. And I also know we were called to be lights of the world. And in
Yes.
order to be that, we got to be in dark places to be the light. And so um, I feel like it's a call to action for all of those soldiers, those real soldiers of God, to say, "Hey, we're no longer going to just be, like I do good. I don't curse nobody. I don't steal. I don't fight. I don't kill." But it's more than that because He gave us talents, and right now it looks like we just hide them to make sure they secure instead of letting them grow and blossom and investing them so that they can multiply. And so this is the call to action. Like, yo, now it's time to do something. And so my question
Yes.
is for those people who say, like, well, our voice don't matter in this. They're gonna do what they want to do anyway. What would you say to those people as a parent, as a black queen, um, as a running out, you a politician, you already got the seat, it's already there, God had already warmed it up for you,
Claim
He will put
it.
some little flowers and stuff for you. But as someone who is in the running for a political office,
Hmm.
what would you say to our people who feel
Yeah.
like our vote doesn't count?
Yeah. So you guys, and I have to. I'm trying not. Y'all, I'm like fully dressed, and like when you said that, I was like, "Ooh, wait a minute, Jesus. Let me take off my shoes. Let me tell you. Let me tell you guys something. Oh, hold on. Let's turn the alarm off. Let's turn the alarm off, y'all. Okay, there we go. Come on, these are candid moments.
Look, I've had all kinds of stuff go off.
But no, but seriously, for real, you guys, let me to the this is to every single parent, every single caregiver, every single family, every single auntie, cousin, grandma, grandpa, great grandma, great grandpa, mom, dad, adopted, biological, everybody. And I'm everybody in Ward 8. Let me tell you
Everybody.
all something. This system cannot operate without you.
Wow.
Y'all hear me? You all are the ultimate power player. If every parent decided to revolt against the system right now and said, until you fix your stuff, I'm not bringing my child back, there would be no education system.
Wow.
Bam.
That part.
Boom.
You are the power player. You do matter. And guess what? We're going to get there. We have to vote. We have to vote for each other. I'm not running for myself. I'm not running for Abria. I'm running for every single person in Ward 8. I'm running for every single child, every single little girl, every single little boy, our high school students, our parents, our families, our caregivers, our grandparents, trying to make sure you all have a seat at the table, because let me tell you all something. They don't want you to have a seat at the table.
Right.
The system doesn't want you to have power. They don't want you to know your power. They don't want you to know that you are the dynamic stakeholder in all of this. Education system, you don't make decisions for our children without us. Because at the
Absolutely.
end of the day, you start with parents, you have to be in the middle with parents, and then at the end of the day, you have to end with the parent. You can't enroll students without parents. You children can't go to school without their parents. There's no curriculum without parents. There's no education, teacher, whatever may have you, policy without parents. You have the power. It's you. It's not the mayor. It's not the council member. For real, it's not me. It's you. You have the power. You are the voice. Stand up. These are public tax dollars. They work for you.
Absolutely.
If I'm elected, I'm working for the people. I'm working for children. I'm working for families. I'm working for our teachers, those who are on the front line. That's what this is about. And they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to hear that. They don't want someone to encourage you. They don't want someone to inspire you. We think, oh, okay, LaJoy has a degree. Thank God, Lord, thank God for my master's in policy. Thank you for that journey. Thank you for letting me understand the policy making side. But guess what? My title is mother. I
Wow.
am Abria's mother. Your title is parent. Your title is caregiver. Your title is family. And that matters. And if someone tells you that you don't matter, they're wrong. And you tell them to come see Miss Law.
Boom. And I'm gonna be right there with my
Boom,
Tims and Vaseline.
boom. All
Straight
right,
like that.
all right.
It's
Yeah,
definitely
Tired of it. They
been
gonna stop disrespecting my
we
family
need a
law.
part
They ain't
two.
gonna stop disrespecting Ward 8. Y'all gonna
it's
share that.
look
Y'all gonna stop disrespecting Ward 8, baby.
Absolutely,
look, and
absolutely.
you don't mess with no mama, and you
Tired of it.
certainly don't mess with no black mama and her
You know,
kids.
I said that. Remember, I said that a few weeks ago. If you want to see some fire, you mess with a mother's child.
Yo,
I have one of my former students. I'm so blessed. The blessings just keep coming. I have a former student. I taught her in fourth grade, and I happened to find her on Facebook via another Facebook friend. Small world. And as it turns out, she has a group called Hymns, you know, and it's dealing with young men. She has two beautiful, handsome sons who are now in high school. And the thing is, the blessings just keep coming and coming. She has the same things that I fed her with educationally. She's now putting into, or she has put into her two sons. And you know what? The blessings just keep coming. But you know what? Before I get cut off, I'm gonna say this. First thing I saw when you came on air, you are so beautiful. You
he
see my little prop.
is.
Oh,
I made my little prop. You're beautiful. And you
you're
know what else?
beautiful.
You know what else?
It was love.
God loves beautiful things, because everything he made, he said that's good, you know. So, and you're so godly. I
Yeah,
see the God in you. I see the God in you. And because you're godly, you're royal. You're
he
royal
got
because my
props,
the fa-
y'all.
our
Let me.
father is a king. You know what I'm
Where my
saying?
piece
Our
of
father,
paper?
Amen.
because you're royal, you gotta be loyal. You gotta be loyal. I'm the poet. I'm the poet that
I
don't
will.
know it.
I will not look.
Come on, Mama Leah.
And, and you know what? With all of that, here's my last 2 cents, and then I'm gonna sit down. I'm already sitting down. You're
Hold on, I
awesome.
wrote that. It's backwards.
Oh my God, you guys are awesome.
But you know what?
Y'all are
LaJoy,
so
that
inclusive. I
you see
love
how
it.
God works. All things work together for the good of them who love the Lord. I had no idea she had written that,
I will not
but
be over it. Look, you are not.
she
Hey,
got her
I'm
little,
a host on this
she
show
got her
too.
little handmade.
I can write my own little props.
She got
Y'all
her
make me
own
feel
little.
so left out. And I'm like, dang, y'all
I had
like
to go. Look, I had to go write on a piece of paper.
She got her little
That lets you
handwritten
know it's from the
line.
heart.
But you know what?
y'all
I
are
have
so
to confess. I
beautiful.
have
I
to
love it. I
confess.
love you
You know what
both.
these prompts came from?
Where?
3 Mother's Day ago. My daughter, that little one right there. Oh my gosh, she's awesome. She and the children, my grandchildren, put a
Johnny did
bouquet
too, because you know
for
he
me.
about to come on
And
here and be
That
like,
is
"What
so
about me?"
John,
beautiful.
they put all this
Oh,
together in a vase for me.
did you cry?
These were my
She
flowers.
cry all the time, the joy. She
I'm
about
a
to
cry.
cry
I'm
now.
a cry.
She
I'm
about to
crying.
cry
I
now.
was crying
I'm a
today.
cry. I be needing to
My
get it
little
together.
tissue. Look, my little tissue. I,
She
I
cried
was.
in the
I'm
green room. She
telling you,
about to
I'm gonna
cry
cry. Yes,
after the
I am
show.
gonna cry when we go off the air because you hit a nerve. You hit a nerve. Your story is gonna be. It's already somebody's glory. I'm claiming that. I'm claiming that. And whatever way, I know I'm in Maryland, you're in DC, but whatever way we can support and we will, your move because I'm already we need you. We need some melanin. We need some melanin on that board.
Absolutely.
We need
And
some melanin stimulated
not just
children on that
melanin,
board.
not just melanin, but somebody who is not afraid to fight the fight, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Um
That's
Absolutely.
and
important.
that's
Yeah,
what we need, you know. And as we
absolutely.
bring this episode to a close, I just want to say this, like, and I think I've been saying this since we started this whole political thing, but you know, even in our movement and even in our walk and our talk and our fight,
Mhm.
we have to change our perspective, because I think that a lot of us get discouraged because what we want to see change doesn't happen. And if we change our perspective and understand that everything that we do has to be orchestrated and ordained by our creator, and it's
Amen.
the change that he is expecting to happen, and the vision that and the plan that he has, and we are merely his instruments. We are merely his soldiers. We're his foot soldiers. We're his arms, his legs, his feet, his mouth, his hands. And so, a lot of times we get discouraged because we take on this journey and say, okay, God, and then we develop our own mindset and say, well, no,
Right.
this is and then when it don't happen, we be like, yo, I'm done, I don't want to do it no more. I
Right.
had
This
look,
wasn't my
I
plan.
had
What
plans for
happened?
this, and so we lose sight of the fact that God said, yo, first of all, hello, it's my blueprint that you guys are walking out. It's my
Absolutely.
blueprint. And
Amen.
so you may say, okay, well, why is 45 even there? You may say, well, what is happening? We see all these like everything is
For
strategically
purpose.
orchestrated
Yeah.
um
Right.
Yeah.
for what God has planned, right? And so if
Right.
you understand that, and you say, and you can say, I believe in him, and whatever, I'm not even gonna get involved in this because God is, and he's like, I am, and so I am, therefore you are. And so you're
Amen.
not here for naught. Like I have you here for a reason, and this is a part of your journey, and this is what you need to go through, because when I
And that's me.
elevate you for my glory, not yours, but when I elevate you, these are the experiences that have to be attached to that elevation, because as I elevate you, much more is going to be required, and so you're going to need that experience, you know. And so
Amen.
I would say to you all, like, hey, it's our time. It's the time of those who
It's
who
Time.
who profess
time.
to be followers of God. I don't care what
Mm.
religious title you are, but for those who profess to be followers of God, it is time for us to. This is the season for us to stand up and walk in our purpose. Walk in our
Amen.
purpose.
And realize we're not politicians, but we have been called to carry out the law of the land, to carry out God's will for us.
Amen.
And the thing is, it's not man that elevates us; it's God
Yeah.
who
Amen.
qualifies us, who elevates us.
I
And
tell everybody, I'm
so,
like, God has appointed me here.
absolutely, so just stay in His will and His way, and things will happen. And I always do my little confidence card. I take advantage. I have to jump in like double dutch. I have to jump in when I can.
Well, no,
I'm gonna say this.
Well, you
I have
better
these
hurry up because we're
confidence
11
cards
minutes
that I
over.
I have
I was gonna
confidence
say, I
cards
wish
that
we
I
could
do
play
that
double
I
dutch
read.
right now.
I wish. I openly embrace my weirdness, awkwardness, embarrassment. I am no longer ashamed to be my raw self. That's me.
Amen.
This side of my life, that's me. Hey,
Hey,
take it or leave it.
hey, so
I just want to tell y'all, you guys are amazing. Y'all are stuck with me.
oh, you
So
already
My
know you're part of the
queen.
family, boo.
just make room at the dinner
I'm
table. I
I'm
mean,
looking forward to meeting
we
your
gotta be
mom
6 feet
too.
apart, you know.
Right, right. Look, don't
I'm
be
looking forward to
surprised if you
meeting
see
your
the
mom.
whole Castro crew during story time. She be like,
Right,
hold up.
right.
Yes,
I was gonna
yes,
This
say,
is
guys,
story time with Bria.
you
yes,
know what? We
yes.
should do that. We should bring you guys on, like maybe you and the
That
kids.
would
Come
be
on.
Yes.
dope. Yes,
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 come on.
yes.
Like we're gonna and let's see, because next time let's see. So story time is Thursdays at 8 p.m. If we don't get to do it this Thursday, we're gonna do it. We're definitely gonna do it next
Let's
Thursday. So by
do
next
Yes.
that.
Thursday, we're gonna have a family affair story
That
time with
would be
Bria.
awesome.
You
Absolutely.
guys are so amazing. I love y'all so much. And I remember
I
you guys said,
love
well, what
you.
can we all do to help you guys? We're in the home stretch.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
I thank God for being in this journey. But
I
campaigns
feel a
cost money, y'all.
Yeah,
homestead
yeah.
coming on.
Campaigns cost money. So I would be honored if y'all could give. Y'all could just go to LaJoy Law. So it's LaJoyLaw 2020.com. Hit the beautiful donate button. It's in yellow.
Yeah.
Y'all hear that? Put your money where your mouth is.
Absolutely. And it's
You're in
all
the
worth
home
it.
stretch, and I would just be honored to have y'all support and to everyone watching to have your support. But you guys, I'm just so humbled.
We
And
love
even in
you.
these last 30 days, even though it's a lot going on, I told my mom, I was like, Mommy, I know I get stressed out, but I always come back to that peace. There's a peace here. And
That
I
surpasses
think I
all
know
understanding.
that's right. And I know it's because I was obedient to his word.
Amen.
That's the key.
That's the
That's
hook
the
right
I was
there.
That's
obedient.
it.
That's the
He
hook
appointed
right
God
there.
has appointed me to walk this journey.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
walking in your purpose, you're always at peace. So
I see it.
I love
Like
you all.
I said,
I
I've
love
already
you, Mama
explained
Lou.
it.
I love you,
We're
love.
going to be in
What a
touch.
peace.
Law will give you my information so we can
Yes.
stay in touch. And
Yeah.
I really mean, I really, really mean that. I'm looking forward to meeting your mom, Queen Mother, because I
Yes.
know.
Yes, Mama Lisa.
And
And it's
look,
so funny. Her name starts with an L. Lisa. Mama,
oh, so
Mama
Look,
ordained,
Lisa.
we're gonna have to meet in the
so
green room because
ordained.
we'll be on this show for the next 2 hours. So
Yes,
don't hang up. I'll meet you in the green room. I'm gonna go ahead and end this show. Y'all know I love you, and you guys know Mama Lou loves you too. And now y'all know LaJoy, my new
I
sister,
love you
loves you
yes.
too. And most importantly, God loves us all. That's why it's important for us to get it. So remember to walk in purpose and not just on purpose. I love you. Until tomorrow morning, bright and early, 7:30. It's your girl, Neo Soul recording artist Lahla-Hadiya, wrapping up another segment of Morning Tea with Mommy. It's been real. It's been awesome. I love you guys. See you next time.
Yeah. No.
Bye, you guys. Love y'all.
Mighty,